Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I am Patrick,
And I'm Paul.
and my voice went weirdly up at the end of Patrick there. Hi everybody, I am
Whimsical.
Patrick. This is
We're
our
going
little.
whimsical.
I became whims. For the last act of 2020, I'd like to add some whimsy. This is our little New Year's Eve pre-recorded message to y'all to tell you that we love you and thanks for all your support in 2020. And again, we're just doing a chat amongst ourselves. This time, just looking back at 2020, calling out some highlights, some lowlights, and some other lights, maybe even some Christmas lights. So, Paul, 2020, what kind of stuff stuck out for you?
um, yeah, let's. The elephant in the room is COVID has kind
Yeah.
of made the entertainment industry kind of an interesting and not so interesting kind of topic to kind of base your YouTube channel maybe on for this year.
True.
But it's been. First of all, I want to say, Patrick, thanks for doing the show for another year with me. It's
Hey,
great. It's great fun. We're always trying to evolve and stuff like that. Like I can't wait to be back in the studio with you.
I didn't
Like
know
you
he was going
know,
to ambush me with nice compliment things. I'm,
I
I'm now going
know.
to get all like,
Like it's going
Paul.
to be great to actually be able to talk to you about like stuff again, like together instead of through the magic of screens
Well,
and
20
microphones.
2021. Here we come. At some stage. At some stage. Vaccines willing. But yeah, you know what? You make an interesting point though. The elephant in the room is COVID. But this isn't going to be about COVID. It was
No.
an interesting challenge. It forced us. So there's the first thing. It took us out of a recorded setting and forced us into becoming kind of a live stream.
Hmm.
We did some non-live stuff, but we embraced the idea of live streaming. We've had a bit of fun with it. We've had some great interactions with people live. So that's a definite kind of interesting highlight for 2020.
Yeah, like I can see us moving back to kind of the edited and planned out kind of movies, like or episodes and stuff like that. And every now and again, when a big event is going to happen or something like that, maybe doing a live stream on the Thursday, kind of thing, which would be so a kind of nice mixture of kind of our old format, which was very enjoyable and everything and planned out and nice, and we could show all the information that we wanted to show and stuff with maybe some kind of like live events in the sense of
Yeah,
kind of like this is all just happenstance just because, but it's been a nice kind of experiment with the formats and stuff. So
it's always fun to try new things. And next year we will be trying lots of new things. We don't know what they are yet. And you know what? I would take a guess at what they are, except last year I wouldn't have guessed COVID would have put us this direction. So
yeah,
I'm not into planning anymore. I'm into let's see what happens because I don't want to be the one to bring it on by accident, just by calling out, you know what we should do? We should do an X. And next thing you know, a volcano explodes and none of us can fly anywhere or whatever. Um,
yeah.
One thing though, I wanted to kind of take it away from us and maybe into the entertainment industry. One of the big things for me this year was something that we alluded to at the end of the previous year quite heavily. And I've really enjoyed the streaming wars heating up and becoming an actual real thing. Like Disney Plus was an unknown quantity, even after it launched in the end of 2019. But HBO Max was always on our radar for, oh, it'll really get spicy when that comes along. And man, again, COVID has had its effect there. But what a year for streaming in general. Streaming wars, streaming popularity, streaming necessity with people being trapped at home, streaming launches of full theatrical releases. It's been exciting.
Yeah, like the transfer of the changeover of the industry has been really kind of intriguing. Like as we said, I was actually going to point out the stream wars as well. This is how long we've been kind of working together. The stream wars has been an absolute bomb to kind of talk about. It's been one of the biggest kind of news things to talk about this year, in the sense that we've had the release of Disney, which was earlier on in this year and stuff, and it's just been growing, growing, and growing. Um, and it's been interesting to see some of the other streaming systems kind of like take on more and more items. Like back in March, or like in February and March, we were talking about how WandaVision's going to come out in the summer and Loki was going to come out later on. That hasn't happened. Like
Yeah,
that's an interesting kind of tidbit on the sense that like it just get pushed out and pushed out and pushed out, and it's probably because of not because of COVID or anything. It's probably because of like scheduling problems with
oh yeah,
with some of the stuff that they wanted to release and stuff. But I think this year the Stream Awards reason has been really interesting because this has been like a massive like boost towards the industry completely. Like I used to be just like, I have Netflix and I have Amazon Prime. Like I don't know if I'm going to get Disney Plus as well, but like the amount of stuff that like I've watched and signed up for now, it all seems reasonable to me because the
Yeah.
sense is I don't use the TV anymore.
Yeah.
Like I don't use like normal television programming or anything. I just use streaming stuff, and like having Disney and Netflix and Amazon Prime, and hopefully in the future, which goes HBO Max, or some kind of form of it, come to us. It's now my thing. I've
Yeah.
decided I've gone completely digital.
Oh, I'm
Um,
I'm absolutely with you. And I, I want to call out something else. And you're right. We guess what the other one is going to say because we've been doing this together for a little while. I'm going to try and come up with something that you may not have guessed. I'm weirdly looking back at this year, going, how many things were we not right about as much as we were kind of accidentally onto? We made a whole video that was centered around the idea of Marvel should slow down and take a break. Okay, they kind of did it by themselves and then had it enforced on them by world circumstances. We didn't imagine it this way, but we were coming up with a lot of stuff that was then kind of coming to pass. We talked about the Sony Spider-Man, Sony Marvel Spider-Man split. Like we had a lot of fun talking about a lot of things that because of the weird crazy year they kind of became even more relevant than when we were talking about them. So I've enjoyed that roller coaster,
yeah,
particularly some of the kind of what will they do with the big franchises. That's been an interesting angle for me because it was such a big part of the previous few years.
yeah, like that's kind of are kind of slipping into or onto the kind of like news or maybe the future kind of things has been interesting. I have enjoyed that. Like our worry about the cinema,
Mm.
like we did an episode about like cinema and where it could may it go and stuff like that. But we were always like talking about, oh, maybe they'll do a hybrid kind of plan in the sense that like in certain places they will release it on in cinemas, and that they will also release it on their streaming services, maybe in a kind of like, okay, the first 2 weeks we release this in cinema, and then after that we're going to release it on our platform, kind of thing. But then the first 2 weeks we're going to become a little bit more equal on our finances between the
Yeah,
cinemas and us, kind of thing. We weren't 100% on that, but we were like close to the money kind of
yeah,
thing, which is an interesting one because only recently Warner Brothers has announced the fact that they're releasing both, kind of thing. This year, next year, 2021 is going to be more interesting just because I think we're going to be more right on things.
yeah. And I
Just
think since we're kind of pulling highlights of the year, there's going to be the odd little lowline in there too. And here's a little mixed bag for you. One of my kind of highlights of the year was looking forward. At the start of this year, before everything went kind of haywire, there was a lot of stuff. There was Ghostbusters 3. There was June. There was all sorts of stuff. You name it, we talked about it. But now they've become even more kind of relevant insofar as like June. We're going to be talking about June for at least another year.
yeah,
With what the build up to its HBO release, if that does go ahead, because I know Denis Villeneuve is unhappy is the polite way to say it. He wrote a
yeah,
rather scathing article about the people who sign his checks, and he didn't like ghostwrite this thing. He wrote an article, and it was published with his words saying, "Yeah, screw you, Warner Brothers, don't be at this messing around." So like, there's for every down that's come along, there's an exciting, almost not gossipy, but just interesting industry angle up to it. And we're still going to get to see Dune, and Dune is going to be fantastic because Denis Villeneuve says it's going to be fantastic. He says it's his best film so far, and he's got a pretty good track record.
yeah. He does.
So who might doubt the guy? So whenever it gets here, it's going to have even more anticipation built up around it.
Well, yeah, that's the interesting. That's even the more interesting thing. We've talked about films that definitely should have come out now, and have been pushed out and pushed out and pushed out, like the Marvel films, like Black Widow and stuff. Um, it's been interesting because we've been talking about these films, and they've built up so much that like when I finally get to see these films, hopefully in a cinema, it's going to be amazing because
Yeah,
like I've been waiting like now it's like being teased consistently about Dune, like constantly teased about that film. Like I guess I have to say sorry to Tennant for taking the
yeah,
bullet for the rest of this film industry and stuff, and I definitely feel that like that film may have gotten a hard roll of the dice, I guess, because it was the first one to go, oh yeah, we're all back kind of to normality. Like I know that the film's probably not the most amazing film and stuff like that of Chris Nolan's, but it's like it was an anticipated blockbuster film that decided to take the first run at the cinemas when they reopened.
yeah. It ran into
So
the minefield for everybody else. It was the Trailblazer. Now, to be fair, having seen the film, I think in some ways it may have been fortunate, because I don't know how it would have been received, particularly just the confusing premise aside, just the sound mix, the lowered audio, not being able to hear people very well. It's a strange thing to want to do that Chris Nolan has done before. Um, I think it mightn't be the worst thing in the world for Tenant as it is, if you know what I mean. But I think you're right. Talk about blindfold on, brave soldier. It
mhm.
was it was a weird thing. Actually, Paul, let's pick a good one. What like give me one of the highlight things that you've watched this year that you were like yay. Um, or if you want, I can go first because I would probably kill you if you hit me with that question.
Yeah, go for it.
Um,
If you have one in your head right now.
well, I see. I've got a couple of highlights for the year that just were kind of bubbling to the surface while we were talking. Like Trial of the Chicago 7. Any year there's a new bit of Aaron Sorkin goodness in the world, I'm happy about. I know we did an episode. Um, it was it was great. Like I'm not even calling it the best film of the year or anything like that just yet. I think it's very very good, but I do love me some Aaron Sorkin, so it was great. I'm
Yeah.
really really glad. Would I have gone to the cinema to see it? Absolutely. Am I happy enough to have seen it on the TV instead? I think the format still suits that kind of movie, so I don't think we lost that much. And I thought it was incredibly enjoyable. So it was a real highlight. People are still going to be able to make great movies that are not necessarily dependent on the large format for all of their bang and their pop and their fizzle. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to see Dune in a cinema. Same as you, I'm going to go to the
Yeah.
cinema and see Dune. I'm not going to watch it on TV, even if I have to wait an extra 3 months for a cinema release. If it's out on streaming,
Mhm.
I will avoid it. Same as you. Trial of the Chicago 7 was a great, perfect movie for this year, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I definitely agree there. It's just the Chicago Seven was a really really good point. I guess earlier in the year, probably Onward and Onward, which is a Pixar animated film, that was really really good. Really really enjoyed that film. That was probably the last one of the last films I saw in the cinema before we had the ultimate close. And uh,
I haven't seen it yet. I must see it. Is it on Disney Plus yet? I wonder.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Cool.
Um, Also, Harley Quinn as well. That was kind of it was a
Yeah.
fun little movie to watch before the end of kind of the closures of the cinema and stuff.
It was a bit of a mess of a movie, from my reading on it, if you know, or my feelings on it. But I have fond memories of it now too. You're right, because it comes from a time. It was at that crossover time between the old world and the one we live in now.
Yeah, like that's the bigger thing is some of those. I definitely think that like Harley Quinn probably has a more closer like bond in time now that because of where it came from. Yeah, like TV has been probably the bigger
Yeah,
thing like
and
right
not
now because
Tiger King, not Tiger King.
yeah,
Anybody who's
that's
thinking
like
that's going to be it, that ain't it. Actually,
like
I
yeah,
think we're both probably going to pick the same TV highlight. I'm guessing what you're going to say next. Actually, you say it, and I'll jump out of my chair if I'm wrong.
well, The Mandalorian has been really good.
That's a good call. It's not what I was
Um,
thinking though. Something else that had a fantastic second season. The Boys.
yeah, the
It's
boys. Yeah,
to have gone. Actually, I wouldn't even say a fantastic second season. A second season that was every bit and sometimes better than the first which is a really rare thing.
Yeah, like they've really kind of upped their game with TV series and stuff. Like my constantly saying that we're in the golden age of TV. I just want to really hammer that home that
Yeah,
we're getting some of the best TV that we've gotten, and The Boys has been one of the best. I think The Boys found a really good home in the sense that it was between the two. Like Marvel and DC have decided to take a kind of break to figure out their release schedules and stuff in this time, and The Boys has really capitalized on the fact that we were slightly fatigued over the kind of like goody two shoes superhero film
yeah,
like thing. We got a TV series essentially just bad making the superhero thing. So I think I've really found a home,
yeah.
kind of thing.
It
I've just
was
been
it was
enjoying.
quality. It was real quality. It's one of those things. I'm glad it's as good as it is because I know people that won't watch Marvel movies, and I also know people that won't go as far as like the masterpiece that was the Joker last year. But I can tell them, look, if you watch one TV show, if you want to get over your superhero phobia, this is the one that is in like you say, it's in a different part of the field. It's in a different area. Even though it covers the same topic of, let's say, superheroes, it does it in a different way.
Yeah,
Like you never get a second album as good as the first sort of thing. The tricky second album, well, not never. Famously, there's some brilliant ones. I think this will go down in history as that's how you do a second season.
yeah. Like it's like the John Wick 2 kind of follow a film kind of thing. It builds more onto the world to give you a little bit more and stuff like that. It doesn't belittle your knowledge of the place as well, so you don't have to go back over stuff. So like it's cool that way
Yeah,
in the sense that so I have to say yeah, but the Golden Age, yeah, like I've rewatched quite a lot of stuff. I have to say probably like, but it's been enjoyable kind of seeing the new age of more content coming out for TV films or
yeah,
TV series and stuff. It's also been an explosion in streaming as well. Like the streaming entertainment has become also one of the biggest entertainers in the world and stuff like that. With like large percentage of new loads of new scandals.
yeah.
Like, but we'll ignore those, but not ignore them. But we won't go into them on this because we only have a couple more minutes. But yeah, streaming content and stuff like that has grown in massively. There's a whole bunch of new streamers, new age streamers and stuff like that have exploded. So like it's I think yeah, I guess my statement earlier of it being a weird time to be in the entertainment industry, like we're talking about the entertainment industry, is kind of wrong. It's really pivoted in ways that we probably didn't see in the kind of status quo.
Yeah, but it
Because
affords us all an opportunity to take our own unique view on it that little bit more. It's it's tilted things on its axis a little bit, and it's just made us. It's given us the opportunity to adjust how we're leaning, and I've personally, I know that's not going to change next year for you and I, as far as we'll just keep going whatever way we feel like because we can. This is the great thing about YouTube being a platform that affords that. Big thanks to YouTube actually for the year. Nobody ever bothers doing that. It's great that YouTube exists, not just for the content I consume, but also the opportunity for us to put content out on it. So to kind of get you back with your niceness at the start, I'm going to end with some niceness. It has been fun, Paul. It's been great to be able to just take weird looks and like we at one point before the world ended, because we were still talking about how much we love physical cinema, and we've done a few episodes in different directions about that. We did one about best snacks. We just decided to do a fun episode about
yeah,
cinema food. What do you want to eat when you're watching a movie? You know what? In the grand landscape of the other things that we talk about, I'm glad that we're able to throw in random things like that. And I'm kind of looking forward to the world throwing a few more curveballs from the entertainment world, throwing a few more curveballs. The rest of the world could please chill out, so that we can
yeah,
have fun looking at what I expect will be a very interesting time. Wonder Woman 84 will have come out by the time this airs, and we won't. We're recording this in the past. Ooh, you're looking at the past. I think that will have created enough stuff that January 1st, 2021, Paul, we'll be talking to each other going, there's a lot we got to discuss.
yeah. Like it's the next episode that we kind of do together is going to be an interesting one because it's going to be not only I guess, our predictions for 2021 and stuff like that, but it's also going to be, well, what's new? What's been going
Yeah.
on since since we kind of, I guess, went on uh went on our hiatus for our holidays, our
Jeez. At one point, we were
holidays.
talking about the Oscars without Kevin Hart, and what would they do without, what would they do without presenters and stuff? It's going to be a very different conversation now for the Oscars that didn't kind of happen, so to speak. It's all on its head, and we at least can take the best thing out of that, which is take a fun look at it all, or at least take
Yeah.
the opportunity to look at things differently.
Yeah, well, hear us out. We definitely ask you to hear us out on our opinions about the entertainment industry. So,
Yeah, and
you know,
we would love to hear you out, everybody out there, and pointing at the camera, you, whoever you are right now that's watching. It will really help our analytics if you hit like. It'll really help our egos if you hit subscribe. But you know what? It'll actually really help us get to know you a bit. If you go down to the comments, say whatever you're thinking. There's no question. This is the final episode of the year. There's no, we're going to ask you a question that you should answer to get your engagement. Just tell us what you think. Just let us know what's on your mind. Shout out your thoughts on 2020. Do whatever the hell you want. Do a text related dance in the comments. I thank every single person who's watched our video, everybody who subscribed or liked, and especially all of you who've commented it. It's been absolutely brilliant interacting with you. So, yeah, 2020. Thanks for all the comments. That's my highlight. Comments.
yeah, yeah. I guess that'll be, yeah. Looking back, getting to 100 subscribers and now halfway through, getting to 200 is a nice kind of like pick me up. It's been cool to see us grow slowly and nicely, steadily. Like, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of your comments down below and getting to chat with you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
So, Paul, do you want to say goodbye for? You can do the goodbye for 2020 before I cry.
um, thank you very much for a fantastic year. Thanks for joining us on our live chats and stuff like that. Which was, we hope that you had a safe 2020. Hopefully that you were with us from the majority of us and stuff like that. If you're new and stuff like that as well, hope you like to see more of us, because 2021 is just a pushing the reset button and starting a whole new year of amazing entertainment content and interesting opinions from these two idiots, I guess, would be like, interesting. So yeah, thanks for sticking with us. Like, subscribe, and all that, as Patrick said. We'll see you in the new year. I've been Paul,
I've been Patrick.
and we've been Here Us Out. So goodbye.
Goodbye. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.